So today is the big day, the day of Operation Absolute Zero, aka the day where a bunch of stuff changes in Call of Duty. Now this patch is actually coming out in a couple of parts. Today, later on, is when the black market changes, the tiers change, and on top of that we get the new specialist character Zero in multiplayer. However, last night a big patch for Blackout actually came out that changed a whole bunch of stuff in game, and today we are going to be talking about all of those changes that they made to Blackout, and there is a lot of them. On top of that, there are 3 other big changes coming to Blackout tomorrow that we will also talk about today. However, before we get into talking about Blackout, there's a couple changes that they actually made to multiplayer that I wanted to address first. They're very minor, so we should be able to go through them pretty quickly. So first things first, when you start up Black Ops 4, you're going to notice that there is a different loading screen. There is now a loading screen for Operation Absolute Zero. So assumably every time a new event goes on in Black Ops 4, this loading screen is probably going to change. Now another thing that you will notice is if you go to your black market, all of your reserves are covered in ice for the Operation Absolute Zero event. Now assumably later on today, when the full patch is out, there will also be some other big changes to black market, so we'll talk about that later. I just thought I would point this one out for now. Now another big change that they have made with this patch is to personalization. Now when you go and try to equip a skin to your specialist characters, there's 2 options, an option for a skin and an option for a face paint. That way you can use your face paints whenever you want with a specialist character, not just when you're using specific skins. And then the last change to multiplayer is the new weapon personalization, and really it's nothing new. However, the menus have now changed so that when you are in the menus, you can check out your reactive camo. So for example, when you're using gold, dark matter, or a camo like that changes in game, you can now see the requirements and view what the weapons actually look like when certain things happen, like getting a 15 kill streak, for example. So those are all the major multiplayer changes. Like I said, there will be more coming later today along with the new specialist character, so stay tuned to the channel for that. But in the rest of this video, we're going to be talking about the major changes to Blackout, and there are a lot of them. But the biggest one, the most major one that you are going to notice right away is the aesthetic. So first of all, when you start dropping in, you're going to notice that all of the trees, their leaves have now changed. On top of that, if you look at the mountains in the background, they are all covered in snow. So it's more of a fall update, really, when you look at it. There's no snow on the main map, but you can see where they're going with this. On top of that, they did something really neat with the lighting, where somehow with the lighting of the map, it looks more like fall or winter. I don't really know what they did to do that, but it's very clear as soon as you land, it feels more like fall. On top of that, I know this is very vague, but with whatever they changed, the entire map just looks a little bit better. It's very clear and easy to see right away. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention in this video is that there are 3 things being added into Blackout later today, and I thought I would point out all of those as well. The first of which is the most obvious one, Hijacked, the new area of the map that they are adding in. It is coming later today. As of right now, when I make this video, it's not in there, but it should be there very soon. The second thing is the new vehicle called the ARAV. It is basically a Jeep that has a machine gun on top of it. I'm really interested to see how that fits into the game. I think it might be a little bit overpowered, but we'll have to wait and see. And the third thing, a lot more of a minor thing, is jet trails behind people diving out of the helicopters. So right now, when you dive out of the helicopter, you can't see any trail behind any of the players. They're adding a trail in so you can more clearly see where people are landing on the map. As of right now, it's not in there, but like I said, it should be there later today. Now, the next and biggest thing that this patch changed is armor. Armor has been completely reworked in Blackout, and I would say about 90% of it is for the better, but there are still some problems that we'll talk about throughout this video. However, first I have to explain to you exactly how armor repairs actually work. So armor repair is the new system in Blackout, and each tier of armor is going to get repaired a little bit differently, and we'll talk about that. But to repair your armor, you need a new item called an armor plate. Now, these are found the same way as any other item. They can be found on the ground, in chests, pretty much anywhere, on dead bodies. and each armor plate is going to redeem 100 durability to whatever piece of armor you are using. Now, tier 1 armor has 400 durability, tier 2 armor has 600, and tier 3 has 800. I believe those are the correct numbers. I might be a little bit off, but it's at least around there. Now, at any given time, you can only be carrying a maximum of 10 armor plates, but I think that's relatively reasonable because even if you have level 3 armor, it's only going to take 8 to fully heal it all the way up to 100%. Now, on top of this, armor simply works a little bit differently. You're going to notice right away when you kill someone, most of the time they're still going to have their armor on them because it's not going to break. Now, why is that? I believe it's because the durability on armor is a lot higher, but it actually absorbs much less damage than it previously did. It seems like a lot more damage is actually going through armor, so it's not quite as effective as it was before this patch. Now, I don't have exact numbers, but that is in a sense how it's working. So when you see someone with level 3 armor and kill them, it will probably be on their dead body. You can pick it up and heal it back up to full, then you have level 3 armor. So is this new system good or bad? I think for the most part it is good. The reason being, most of the time it's going to award more aggressive players. Now the reason for that is the more aggressively you play, the more likely you are to find level 3 armor or to find someone who is using it, kill them, and then use your armor plating to actually heal it. On top of that, the more aggressive players are going to have more armor plating. So in the long run, the aggressive players are going to have more shields. Now, the one reason why this system is bad is because almost every gunfight you're going to get into now is going to be someone with armor. Almost every single time. Simply because the durability of armor is now higher. It doesn't break when you kill people. That means everyone is going to have armor at the end of a game, which means it's going to take more bullets to kill and completely change the meta. On top of this, I find if you find level 3 armor right away, you are set. You have a massive, massive advantage because even if you take damage, you can just keep healing it up with armor plating. So I think it needs some tweaking, refining, maybe some of those durability numbers need some changing, but 100% this is a better system than they previously had. Now, I personally believe the best system of all would be if armor just added a set number of health to your character and it didn't do a percentage of health like armor does. Kind of similar to how shields work in Fortnite. But hey, that's not how it's working, and I will say this system is definitely better than what we previously had. So that's all I'll say for armor. It's absolutely a better system, and if you haven't given it a shot yet, I definitely recommend giving it a try. Now, another new thing that they added is new characters that you can unlock via challenges. They are not unlocked through tiers. You have to complete their challenges, and they are the 9 zombies characters. Now, these characters already exist in Blackout, but these are the ones and the models that are on the 9 zombies map in Black Ops 4. Now, I haven't seen any of the challenges, so I can't tell you how any of them are done, but they are in game and you can start completing them right now. Another new thing that's in the game is the new weapons. So there are 2 new weapons being added in today to multiplayer that are unlocked via the black market tier system. However, these weapons are free to use in Blackout. Now, I'll show you a couple of kills I got with these weapons, but a very brief description. The SMG, the Damon 3XB, I think I got that right, is a burst action SMG, kind of similar to the Pharaoh from Black Ops 3. However, it has very, very little burst delay. And then the assault rifle is called the SWAT RFB, and this one is interesting. It has very little recoil, a really good fire rate, but it feels like it doesn't have either very much range or damage. Now, of course, these stats could be different in multiplayer, but I'm just giving you a brief description on how it felt in Blackout. So at like short to mid range, this weapon actually did pretty good, but when I was at long range, it felt like I was shooting a water gun at the enemies. And of course, I haven't used these weapons that much, so I could be wrong about that, but on my very brief time playing with them, that's what it felt like. Now, the other thing, and I don't have patch notes to confirm this, but I believe that there are some audio changes. This was just based off of my own personal feel. First of all, footsteps just sounded different. I'm not exactly sure how. And the one thing I noticed for sure is vehicles sound different. I don't know what it is. personally, I think they're not quite as loud, but there is some sort of difference with vehicle noise that was different than before. Now, the other big thing that has changed is area-specific things. So there's changes to Hydro Dam, Factory, and Nuketown Island. Now we're going to talk about all three of those. So there could be more changes than the ones I'm pointing out today. These are just the ones that I personally noticed. First of all, Nuketown Island, the big change there is the bunker. So the bunker is still the same shape, it looks the same, however the lighting is different. Certain areas that used to be just kind of dark are now lit up by blue lights. I think it looks really good and adds a nice aesthetic to the bunker. This is probably the smallest aesthetic change out of any of the areas on the map. Next up at Factory, there is actually 3 new buildings in this areas. They are actually pump buildings and all of them look kind of similar, and this is definitely a welcome change because now there is a lot more loot if you land Factory. Previously, there was really only the 2 buildings where loot could be found, and other than that, you were kind of screwed. So now, a lot more area to explore at Factory. And in my opinion, the biggest and probably the best change is at Hydro Dam. So Hydro Dam was a little bit interesting of a thing because first of all, it was difficult to get from one side of the dam to the other, and it was also difficult to get from the top of the dam to the bottom unless you dive off of it. And they've actually fixed both of those problems. The first thing is getting from one side to the other. They've added a covered bridge between the 2 areas of the dam. The second thing is they have added an elevator to either side of the dam. So either you can go up the elevator, which makes a lot of noise, and honestly in the elevator you're pretty much a sitting duck, or there's actually a ladder that you can sneakily climb up or down to get up or down the dam. I think this is an awesome addition to the area, probably the best addition to any of the areas if you ask me. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the update. It really does change how Blackout plays. If you haven't given it a shot, I really recommend it. I think that armor update is probably the best thing that they added. But I'm curious, what do you guys think of the changes? On top of that, if I missed anything, feel free to let me know down in the comments because as of making this, the patch notes are still not out. So feel free to let me know anything I missed or what your favorite or least favorite part of this update is. On top of that, if you enjoyed the video and like what you saw, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button, as it always does help out the channel. On top of that, if you want to stay up to date with everything Call of Duty, be sure to hit that subscribe button and have notifications turned on, as I'm trying to keep you guys updated as best as possible going forward through the Absolute Zero event. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
Paradigm.